Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on board for another late night stream of UBOAT. So this is a Second World War submarine simulation, and it's taking place in a beautiful open world where you can roam all the seas of the world if you like to. Well, actually, usually it doesn't make sense to just roam anywhere, but follow the mission orders from your seniors, but at least you could just go everywhere. All the coasts of the world are modeled. That's pretty great, and particularly the submarine systems are, all the physics is nicely modeled, and the people as well. So the submarine is not just a machine in this simulation, but it's a machine which is operated by the crew, and the crew receives the orders by the captain, me, us. And this feeling is wonderfully transmitted in the game, that you're not in command of a machine, but in command of a crew operating a machine. A very complex machine, actually. So this is the bow torpedo room with the crew bunks, officers' bunks. You see here, this is the off-watch guys, Mr. Hinrich here at the hydrophone and radar detection system, and one crewmate at the radio. Operation center with the helmsman here, map, table. This is the attack periscope. Up here, no, sorry, this is the observation periscope, and up here, this is the attack periscope. Compass, pump, petty officers' bunks, the galley, and the engine room. This is the diesel going at slow speed at the moment. You can speed up a bit. I just had it slow while I was starting the stream. Electric engines are idle at the moment, of course. And pretty important, electric compressor and diesel compressor to make sure that we always have enough compressed air to blow the tanks, the ballast tanks, and the stern torpedo. We still have all torpedoes loaded. I am at the moment, let's take a look. We are on beginning of December 1942, which means we are more than 3 years into the war, and I have started this game here and all the streams at the beginning of the war in September 39. So I actually streamed all sorry, just need to check something here. That was a bit weird. And the stream software back again. So I've been doing all the missions from the very beginning of the war until now, and I started with that tiny Type 2 submarine, and over the time earned my merits, and now I am the proud captain of a Type 7C. We wouldn't see much outside because it's dark. I'm playing on almost maximum difficulty level, which also contains, playing dark nights. Still, we have a bit of a moon shining, which is wonderfully represented graphics-wise in the game. I love that so much. So we are on the way back from a successful mission. So you see us in the Western Atlantic, and we went so far down as to the Caribbean, and here there was a refinery, and we sneakily got close to the shore at night, and a deck gun fired and destroyed 3 oil tanks. And then we were able to sneakily escape, although there were some men of war approaching, searching for us. And here we got out, and you see I already am in the comfortable situation to have milk cows placed. And right now we are going to go for the milk cow, which should be cruising around here to refuel. Well, actually, if you look at it, we don't really need it. Yeah, I think I did refuel down here. So we are still at 90% of fuel, so really no need to do the refueling. We could just go straight back home to our home port, which is La Rochelle. Okay, I wonder why he does this. Yeah, the Azores, the island group of the Azores. Let's do it like that. If the navigator suggests to go straight through, maybe we can check for some enemies there. Yeah, particularly me, I started the game in the port of Wilhelmshaven here in northern Germany with that small, slow, short-range few torpedoes, Type 2 submarine, and then roamed the North Sea and the close eastern Atlantic. And I was quite successful, as you see. And finally I got missions in the middle of the Atlantic, the so-called Black Pit missions, and after that I got awarded with being able to place milk cows to support me, to supply me, and this is the only way how you could actually reach the other side of the Atlantic, because yeah, you would just have not enough fuel to go there, go back, and then you would not have enough fuel to roam your mission area. So prerequisite to actually do missions in the Western Atlantic was that I got that upgrade, being able to place and call in milk cows. So at the moment it's pretty straightforward. We are just expected to go back home. Well, maybe one remark. After having played the game for 3 years, all my officers were completely maxed out and wouldn't collect any more experience. So what I did was, before this mission, I left my long-term bosun on the shore and replaced him by a new one, unexperienced, and I left my second radio man on shore and replaced it by an unexperienced new one. And now I want to level them up as well, let them gain experience, so that in case that later in the war I have casualties, I can replace them with seasoned officers. Let's check. No, almost nothing. Just a few droplets of water in the bilge, probably spilled in through the main hatchet. What I always do is, when starting a new stream, I give it a new save, in this case W251. And now it's gonna be a bit grindy to get back. I really don't know why I should do that. Let's do the straight. Let's go straight through like that. And yeah, we can already start thinking about what to do next. So there is the Atlantic Theater missions. Not quite sure whether I would like... Yeah, of course it would be nice to finish them. There is just one more mission to do. But, well, it wouldn't give me any big advantage. This is usually spy missions where you should sneakily let a spy get ashore from your submarine. I still have the Norwegian campaign. I never finished it because I don't like it. Then there is... Yeah, I could change my home port to Bergen and then do the Arctic Convoys mission. Maybe I'm pretty much in favor to do that next. Other thing that you could do is trying to do the passage through the Strait of Gibraltar, but I'm not sure if there is any missions following up in the Mediterranean. Maybe they only come later, and this is pretty nicely developed realistically. So with ongoing time, with ongoing war, certain missions become available which are not available in the beginning. So you have really this feeling that time is progressing, the war is progressing, and everything is kind of dynamic. Although you don't have an influence on the overall outcome of the war. So we could do the southern routes. This is inspecting. Merchantmen. Nah, that wouldn't give too much experience to my guys. And we could do some mine laying here off the coast of Western Africa. Yeah, let's see. We have to consider mine laying or southern routes or Arctic convoys. Yeah, but we still have something like a week to think about. By the way, we have to take a look at discipline. We are at a fatigue of -14, which is quite a lot, and indicates that probably when we get back home we first have to send the crew on a 3-week shore leave before we can cast off again. So in total we have dropping discipline, it's below 90 already. And what you can do to counter that effect is to offer different types of food. Yeah, you see, I could even offer a 4th type of food. So each additional type of food gives me a bonus in discipline and moral, but it increases the overall burn rate, so people eat more when you offer more different food. So yeah, it takes a while. So when you start to put more food into the galley, it takes a while until the cook actually starts preparing that. Okay, now we need twice as much food as we would need if we would offer just one type of food. Yeah, let's do it anyway. But it's still not sufficient to increase the morale. So now and then I should send the officers to play some cards with the crew. Like, for example, now I could send the captain to play cards. Hey Donald, good evening, nice to have you in. So, how are you doing? I hope you had a good start into the new year and a pleasant Saturday. Yeah, I'm actually at the end of my 2 weeks winter holiday, so this weekend is my last of the 2 weeks off, and on Monday I have to get back to work. So now we can do some acceleration. And I have to keep in mind that every 4 hours I do have a change of watch. So the officers go to bed automatically, and the new guy, in this case Mr. Arlos, is coming up. Mr. Arlos, our first mechanic. And yeah, as he's a technical officer, when he's on watch, he will automatically care for the engines, and I can manually address 2 more ordinary sailors to support him, which then reduces the fuel usage considerably, assuming that they are meddling around with the valves, optimizing the engine, and save quite a considerable part of the food. Yeah, Donald, nice that you're in. People on YouTube are usually not as much talkative as the guys on Twitch, and yeah, traditionally I'm streaming on Twitch, and only a few weeks ago I started to do both Twitch and YouTube, so I'm always very happy to also get some feedback from YouTube. Yeah, of course I could go faster. You will see that it will take quite a while to bring us back home now, from out here from the other side of the Atlantic, but going faster would burn an unreasonable amount of fuel. So the captain can continue, and here you see playing cards boosts the moral for +9. This is always rather efficient. And yeah, now we are regularly playing with time acceleration. Yeah, now we said that they should go to their ordinary orders, and the captain was so tired, you see it here with the tiredness bar, that he automatically went to bed when I told the crew to go back to their pre-planned schedule. And yeah, Mr. Schultz, our bosun, he chose to man the charts table. This is pretty important that he regularly does that, because when navigation correctness drops to 0%, we get kind of lost, which is pretty ugly. By the way, I just saw something. Don't like the outfit of Mr. Schultz. He's one of the new guys on board, and as the bosun, he should look a little bit more officer-like. Maybe I would like to have the bosun look like that. Yeah, nice jacket. So that's alright. That I like better. Although now he is wearing the same cap as our second radio man. So give him the black beanie. Yeah, we can go like that. Of course, it doesn't matter at all for gameplay. So, it's 6 o'clock in the evening. Let's do the time acceleration again. Yeah, discipline is above 90%, but it's gonna drop now again as nobody's playing cards with the crew. Yeah, I could turn on the radio, but for this I would always have to have one officer at the radio, and then I would get trouble with, yeah, with their stamina. At the moment I have them changing position. So at the moment Mr. Hinrich is operating the radar detector, this device which passively detects when airplanes with radar are coming in. And yeah, he does it 12 hours and Mr. Strauss does it the other 12 hours. And so Mr. Strauss has gonna rest to be fit for duty on the radar detector, and I can't put him onto the radio to play music all the time. For some reason he has to be there while the radio is playing music. The captain, let him play cards again.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
Stop direct orders. We'll send the captain back to bed.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Natürlich, Herr Kaloin. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Okay, discipline is up to 96, but we can do better. Let's see that we max it out to 100%.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Natürlich, Herr Kaloin. Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Yeah, Mr. Schneider, his job is to continuously care for the maintenance of the torpedoes in the tubes, so that they are always in a good condition, and we have reduced by this the risk of darts considerably.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Bestätige. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Bestätige. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Discipline at 100%, so let's go like that. Every 4 hours, change of watch.
Hilfe gebrauchen. Jawohl, Herr Kaloin. Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Yeah, Mr. Schulz, when he is officer, so by the way, Mr. Schulz, the bosun, is our first officer of the watch. Our chief engineer, Mr. Grad, is the second officer of the watch, and the first mechanic is the third officer of the watch. In real life, you would have dedicated disciplinary officers for that, but yeah, in real life I think you would have almost something twice as many people on such a submarine as you have in the game. But yeah, that would be a bit too hard to manage. I think the developers made a good decision to reduce the crew a bit. It still gives a good impression of how the submarine works. So at the moment, Mr. Schulz, our bosun, is the officer of the watch, and yeah, he can't care for the engines, so he cares for navigation, or is taking over the lookouts on the tower, on the conning tower. Hey, I don't know. I think the guy needs an officer's cap. Let's have him that.
Ja?
Yeah, getting back home all that way over the Atlantic, that's always a bit of a grind. But that's how the game is, and yeah, on the other hand, the game delivers this wonderful immersion. And so, yeah, this is not a quick action game, not an arcade game.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
So, it's day again now, 10 o'clock. Let's have a little look. And sun in the east, or east-southeast, something like that. Completely flat water, no waves. And this is also one beautiful thing about the game, that wide spectrum of weather and waves that you have. And the waves actually affect also the tactics, so it pretty much makes a difference if you are attacking submerged on a completely flat sea or with waves at a wind speed of 20 knots. So this is really a big part of, I think this is a big part of why each mission, each attack kind of feels different. Hey guys, there's quite a few viewers actually. Oh, there's quite a few viewers. So never hesitate to give me some feedback in the chat. It's always welcome. Don't feel pushed. It's perfectly fine if you just watch anonymously. But just wanted to remind that just a hi or a comment on what you think about the game, always welcome in the chat. Or if you particularly like what you see, of course, also a follow or a sub. By the way, now we had been doing a lot of time acceleration. Let's check the stores. Yeah, alright, there we are. 3 different types of food. Let's carry on. Oh, let's give it a save, by the way. Hey, Haktar, yeah, perfectly fine. Nice to have you in, and yeah, thanks for making yourself visible. But yeah, lurking is of course perfectly fine. Always glad to see that there are a few people caring, few people watching. Well, shall we send the captain back to playing cards? Why not? It's always about to keep the discipline up because we had this very high fatigue level of -15.
benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Bestätige. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Then we are back to 100% in terms of discipline. Alright.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Now we are closing in to
Torpedorohr 5
home
gewartet.
waters. Yeah, we could start to call this Eastern Atlantic, where we are right now.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
Now we have 22 knots of wind. That's quite a thunderstorm going on. So now you can see the difference. 2 days ago we had this wonderful weather, completely flat sea. And it's 10 o'clock in the morning, so it's well daylight, but foggy, rainy, thunderstorm and quite some waves going. Yeah, good thing is that in this weather we are much harder to be detected by planes, although just lately they seem to be more supported by better radar. And I even had incidents, a few incidents in the last weeks, I mean in-game weeks, when I had airplanes coming in at night or in foggy weather. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the captain's gonna soon turn in. He is starting to get tired soon.
Unterstützung.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloy.
On we go.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Natürlich, Herr
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Jawohl, Herr Kaloy.
Ich benötige hier
Yeah, what about fuel? Yeah, we are almost down to 70% of fuel. So you see we need quite a lot. So that was something like 20% of fuel from here to there. So crossing the whole Atlantic would already use up something like 40% of your fuel resources one way, 40% hitherto, 40% back, so you would have just maximum 20% of fuel resources available for roaming the target area on the Western Atlantic, on the shores of the US and Canada. And yeah, that's just not realistic without having this opportunity of refueling at the open sea with these refuel submarines, restore submarines. Yeah, you can get fuel there, food and torpedoes and just any equipment.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
So 6 o'clock in the morning again.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
And there is nice weather again. There is more wind, but no rain anymore, no clouds, pretty clear sky. But quite some wave, quite some swell. Going 10 knots of wind speed.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Oh, there is an incident. Let's give it a save. Let's see what we have. It's about Mr. Hinrich. So we are the captain. We have to talk to Mr. Hinrich. Where are you? Oh, he's at the stores. Let's hope. Probably there is something with the stores. Oh, improperly packaged food. Officer Hinrich reports a disturbing discovery in the food stores. Upon investigation, a suspected issue, he uncovered that the vegetables was improperly packed. The damp environment has caused extensive spoilage, rendering the entire batch inedible. There are signs of deliberate concealment. Someone attempted to hide the ruined food. It's imperative to investigate this matter thoroughly. We should inform the BDU, the U-Boat High Command, about this supplier issued by radio immediately. We will use 40 units of vegetable. Yeah, okay. That's hard, but it's not that far from home, so it would not be a supply problem. And we still have some vegetable left. So, not much of an issue.
Herr Kaloy?
Ja,
Herr Kapitän,
Herr Kaloy?
ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy? Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy?
So on we go. We are on the final stretch to get back home. Okay, and now there is this risk when we are coming back to the shores of Europe. There might be the probability of British airplanes is gonna get pretty high, and particularly when you're closing in for the port, the risk is high that you just run into an air raid, which is quite a problem in shallow waters.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
So, Captain, would you be so kind and play some cards with the crew to keep up the good spirits?
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
wird erledigt.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
So, Captain, please, some more playing cards.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloy. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Hey, Colin, good evening. Nice to have you in, and nice to participate in the chat. Just something like half an hour ago, we also had feedback from YouTube. It was Donald, but I don't know if he's still there. Yeah, Colin, nice to have you in again. I hope you had a good Saturday. Yeah, so we are on the final stretch back home.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Yeah, we are struggling a bit with discipline. I have to send the captain regularly to play cards with the crew to keep it high. Fatigue is up to 16. So I think, yeah, I really should send the crew on shore leave before I start the next mission, I guess.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Okay, no playing cards. Why is that?
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
So that's okay. Nah, yeah. There is this scroll bar.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Jawohl.
There we are, coming in. So now it feels a little bit too risky to go at maximum time acceleration. Discipline 96%, just fine. Fuel is down to almost 60%.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Als erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
We didn't report the provisioning issue. Let's man the radio by our second radio officer,
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Jawohl, Herr.
and send the information. Yeah, you always get some if you report things like just having sighted enemies, or this one here, you always get
Telegramm
a
gesendet.
bit of additional budget. But since a long time, budget is not my issue. So in terms of budget, they could really kind of make the game a little bit harder. If you ask me. Like, I mean, they have all these levels, these difficulty levels, and I'm already playing on the hardest difficulty level, so maybe there should be one even harder difficulty level which reduces the amount of money that you get for certain achievements. Yeah, it's nighttime.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Yeah, we manually ordered Mr. Strauss to the radio, so we also manually have to tell him to go to bed. All the other things, this shift between them two every 12 hours, that's done after an automatic schedule.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
Yeah, I should man the radio now because we have increased risk of airplanes coming in. Yeah, the bad weather might reduce the probability. Don't know why I did all these markings.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Oop.
Kümmere mich darum.
This is exactly what might cause severe problems when you press the wrong acceleration button. Let's give it a save. So time of the day now, it's 12 o'clock. But we still have thunderstorm going on and pretty bad weather, which is good for approaching the port.
Herr Kaloi, wir Wir befinden uns in flachen Gewässern.
Yeah, shallow waters means that we can't go on the higher acceleration levels anymore.
Auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
In the bad weather I don't... we already have eyes on the shore. Look. I mean, it's not that detailed, but for a submarine simulation, I think they simulate the shore pretty nicely. I quite like it. And there we even see a lighthouse at the horizon. And yeah, the coastlines are modeled beautifully detailed. Oh. Let's go like that. Hey. Should work like that.
Diese Koordinaten setzen.
Yeah, ships. It's all fishing boats, French fishermen. Nice, isn't it? The towns, the cities, the harbors are also nicely modeled. So this is probably an oil tanker terminal that we see there on port side. Give it another save. Better safe than sorry. There we go. Yeah, just before entering port, I'm gonna reduce speed
Kleine Fahrt.
to
Voraus.
kleine Fahrt. Time is, yeah, 1:30, 20 to 2. So it's early afternoon. And there are the two lighthouses on starboard and port side, and at night they give quite an atmospheric scenery. This is fishermen, French fishermen moored there. And this is the lock. We are approaching the lock actually, which is also nice. They really model the lock. And they really model that tide difference outside and inside. So I still have that feeling that, yeah, that they actually do model the tide, but I'm never quite sure if it really influences gameplay, because in some parts of the sea, in the channel, you might have tide, a height difference of something like 8 meters. And I never saw something like that anywhere. Landing gears up, seatbelt sign is off. Yeah, Reciprocal. Nice to have you. Good evening, how are you doing? Hope you had a good Saturday. My Saturday was, yeah, well, it was pleasant. I slept, yeah, not too long. Had breakfast with the family, and then I started to work. Yeah, I still have some work to do for Monday. So it was today something like 5 hours of work. But as I like my work, it's not that bad. But it's like I'm this guy who postpones everything. So I had 2 weeks off, and I did now postpone all the work for today and tomorrow. But that gave me the opportunity to really relax all the time. Oh, see the train going there on the shore, on port side. I love these details that they do. I really love these details. Yeah, good to hear that you had a good day. Let's do a little bit of acceleration. There, the doors, the lock doors. Is this the proper term for that? A lock? And the doors of a lock? I always feel like it is not quite the proper technical term. This is weird, because I always have that impression that, oh, okay, not this time. Sometimes the closing lock door actually hits the stern of the boat. Now we can see that on the left side the sea level is getting a little bit higher than on the right side. Open sea and inside. So it seems to be that we are on a time where outside the tide is down a bit. Yes, something like that. And here we are. That's the nice port of La Rochelle. Yeah, that must have been an enormous effort to build these submarine pens. There is a German destroyer in the dry dock. The fishermen. Yeah, that's so nice. It's not over detailed, but if you keep in mind that this is a naval simulation, they do it pretty nicely. And these are anti-aircraft guns, and when there is an air raid they actually come to action. And this is also nice about the game, that you have this situation. It's not only the enemy who is taking part in the action, but it's like when there is